A woman goes up to some homeless people and starts taking off their clothes. She then tells the Masons that she would give them a large amount of money if they would spend that night with her. They are then surprised by that and say they're up for it and then start arguing about who would spend the night with her. She then says that she didn't need all of them and that she only needed one. They then start to argue about who would spend the night with her, and then the woman asks the other man if he wasn't interested in her proposal. He then says he wasn't interested in that and leaves, but she asks him to wait and listen to her best offer. The other man then starts saying that she shouldn't choose that man, because he wouldn't be able to handle her and that she would regret it. The man then goes to the woman's clothes and dresses her. She then asks what he was doing, and then he says that that was not a correct way to dress. She then asks if he wasn't interested in the money, but he says it wasn't in her interest. She then said they all had a price and asks what his was. He then says that if he had to put a price on it, it was at least triple what she was offering. She then says fine and then starts counting her money. She then hands the money to the man who he says would not take her money and would do it for free. He said he would hand the money over to his friends. She then asks if they could leave and they leave. The other men are very happy about it. They then go to the woman's car and she tells him to get in her car and then she gets in too. She then says that that homeless person was part of her plan and that this was the story of her life. Later, they arrive at the woman's house and she starts talking to one of her employees that she wanted her to give the man a bath, because he smelled bad. The man then says that he would do whatever she wanted. He says that if she wanted him to clean up and change his clothes, he would do that. The employee then tells them to go soon, as her boss had asked them to. Later the woman was talking to a friend. The friend then asks the woman what was going on and how she had found that homeless person. The woman then says that she had that idea because of her parents. She says that her parents wanted her to marry a rich man and that she couldn't do anything about it, but she didn't want that and that she wanted to marry for love and not for interest. She then says that she had that idea to deceive her parents, because she didn't want to be with a rich person who treated her badly. The woman then says that the plan was to present the man as a very wealthy person at the dinner their parents would cook for them later. The friend then says that was a great plan and tells the woman that she was very smart. The woman then says that she thought a lot about it and that she knew the man would accept it, because she just offered him some money and she agreed to help her. The friend then asks the woman if she could make the man pretend to be a millionaire, as that would be a very difficult mission, but the woman says yes and says that she was sure she would manage to make the man very convincing. The friend then asks what he was doing there and the other man says he was there to collect the rent the friend owed him. The friend says she didn't have the money and asks the other man to wait a little longer, but he says he wouldn't wait and he wanted the money. He says that if she didn't have the money, she should leave the house, but the friend says that she was broke and that he could wait a little longer to get money from her, as she would pay. At that moment, the man arrives and the other man asks what he was doing there. When the man enters the room, the woman thinks about how attractive he was. The man says he was taking his shower when he heard him there. He then asks what the other man was doing there and asks if he was talking to his wife about the affairs he has with other women or if he was there to collect rents for the houses he owned. He says he thought the other man charged too much because his houses weren't good, and yet the other man didn't care to fix them up and he was always raising the rent. The other man then says that he was just there to say hello to the woman's friend and that he wasn't going to collect rent from her. He says his wife didn't need to know he was there and then tells her friend that she didn't have to worry about the rent as she didn't owe him anything anymore. He then says that he was leaving at that time and then says goodbye to them. When the other man leaves, they are very surprised by this and then ask the man where they know each other from. The man then says that they were acquaintances and that he had seen the other man a few times already. The woman then thinks about how attractive the man looked wearing what he was wearing. The man then asks what they were going to have to do now. The friend then says that now they would have to change everything the man was. He is surprised by that and then asks what she was talking about. The friend then says that they would have to change all of the man's clothes and that he would be unrecognizable and that he would easily pass for a millionaire. He then seizes the opportunity and thanks the man for helping her with the other man and says that he had saved her life. The man then asks if she was serious and she says yes. He says he agreed to participate in it. Meanwhile, the woman kept thinking about how the man looked very attractive wearing what he was wearing. She then tells her friend that the man was very attractive. The friend says she couldn't believe it, but asks the woman not to fall in love with the man. The man then leaves the room and the woman tells her friend that she would not fall in love with the man. The woman then begins to think about what the man was hiding from her and what the other man knew about the man. She then says that the man was very mysterious and that she really wanted to know what he was hiding. Later, the woman is talking on the phone when she tells the other person not to call her anymore as they don't have anything else and she's tired of it. At that moment, the man arrives and asks what was going on and if the woman was okay. The friend then says that the man was very familiar and then asks him if they knew each other somehow, as she couldn't remember. The man then says that they should know each other from the streets, as that's where he lived. While the man was getting dressed, he asked the woman what plan she had in mind. She then says that she was trying to get her parents to understand that she didn't want to marry for money. She says that her parents really wanted her to marry someone very rich just for the money, but she didn't want that for her. She then goes on to say that her parents were very fascinated with money and that she wasn't that way. She then said that she wanted her parents to understand that she was going to get married because she really liked someone and that she wouldn't want to get married because of money. She then says that she had the idea to go to the man and then take care of him and make him impersonate a very rich person so that he can go to a dinner that her parents were having that night and introduce him as her boyfriend. She says that her last boyfriend had a lot of money and that he was very well off, but that he never gave her love or affection. She says this made her feel very frustrated with that relationship. She then says that that was why she didn't want to associate with rich people anymore. The man then says that he had understood the woman's side and then asks if she didn't want to marry rich people. She then says that they didn't want a rich person next to her, because these people always wanted to take advantage of the money she had to buy cars, other things they wanted, but who never wanted to stay by her side to take care of her. She said that she wanted someone to take care of her. The man then asks if she had created that plan when she had seen him on the street. She then said yes, that's why she created that plan when she met the man. When they get there, the man asks her to go in alone, as he had to do something first. The woman then enters and is startled to see that another man was there. She then asks what he was doing there, and then her mother says that she had taught her daughter good manners and asks her to shake hands with the other man. The girl's father then says that this was wrong and asks his daughter to stop it. The other man then says that if the woman's parents had called him there, it was because they liked his presence. He then says that the girl also enjoyed his presence, but she tells her that he didn't like him and that she was just a spoiled man who was supported by his parents. At that moment, the man arrives and says that if the woman had told the man to leave, she didn't want him there. Seeing the man there, the other man says he would never do anything to offend the man, then says he was leaving. He apologizes and then walks away. This leaves the woman very confused, and then she says that she didn't understand what was going on. Her mother asks what she didn't understand and she says she didn't understand anything. She then says that that man was a homeless person and that when he had asked the other man to leave, he accepted the man's words and left without saying anything. She then said that she knew the man was a very strange homeless person and that she had already told him that. Her father is then surprised, as his daughter did not know the man. The woman, then, says she is very confused by that, so she asks someone to explain what was happening there. The man then says that as her mother had said, he really was a businessman. He says that his family had taken advantage of him because of his money. He then had the idea of going to live on the street to better understand how street dwellers lived. He then said that he had really enjoyed the lifestyle that the homeless had, as they didn't care about the money other people had. He said that was what bothered him most about his family, because even his own daughter only wanted to know about his money. He then tells the woman that he had liked her a lot and that he agreed with what she had said earlier. He then said that he respected her opinion a lot and that he was in love with her. She then says that from the moment she had seen him, he too had fallen in love with him.